What's going on, everyone? It's that time. Thank you for joining this season gaming Bitcast episode 107. And this week we have myself, who you know well. We've got Mr. Dan Words Compatible Dan Rodriguez, appropriate for the topic today, sir.
Yeah, I do what I can.
And what we're gonna hit the shirt right away. What do you got on today?
Oh, it's just.
You've got your Doom shirt, yeah.
Yeah,
a Doom shirt that is surprisingly accurate.
Right, buddy. I've got like 15 of these shirts.
And joining us for the first time, very happy, and it's been too long. I know we talked about this a long time ago. Enrique from Basement Radio Arcade Podcast, joining us today. Welcome, sir.
Woo! Hey, man, happy to be on. It's funny, we did talk about doing this a long time ago, and yeah. I know we had you on BRAP, so It is truly an honor, gentlemen, to be on and talk some video games.
Yeah, and we got a lot to talk about, too, so it's going to be a good one. Yeah, we did. So what happened was, and I've said this on some of the shows, so I know our listeners kind of know this, but we used to be a podcast kind of only. We did YouTube, but it wasn't live. And then Bert kind of stepped away from season gaming, some stuff going on in his personal life. And so Dan and I kind of reorganized, and then all this COVID situation happened. And we were like, you know what if we try to do the show live, which we heard from some of our fans. So we only moved to live. I think this is our, Dan, like 6th or 7th week? It hasn't been too long.
Yeah, because it was after 100, I think, right? We did.
Yeah.
Last one.
I think that was our first, or we tested it the week prior. So yeah, it's only been 7 weeks. And so I kind of reached out to everyone again. It's like, now once we get the kinks kind of worked out on this live show, then I'll kind of go through everyone I've been meaning to have on. So it's going to take a while because we're really only doing like one guest a week, but we're getting there. So good to have you all, man. Really excited about it. So before, no, I'll tell you what, we'll start with you, Enrique. Let's start with you and talk about what you got going on. So you host the Basement Radio Arcade Podcast. Everyone kind of knows you as BRAP. That's Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern, right?
That's correct. Yep.
Okay. And funny enough, I always like to kind of talk about the history, which we'll get into in a second. But I actually went onto your channel and did some research, and you are coming up on your 5-year anniversary of your first episode. I don't even know if you realize that.
You know what? I didn't even. I know I've been doing this for about 5 years. I didn't realize that milestone was coming up. But yeah, I've been doing this for a little while now. It's been a labor of love. We just when I started the channel, I used to actually. Most people probably don't know this, but I actually started podcasting on the original Next Level Gaming podcast.
Oh, nice! Love those guys.
With Mike Mullis, and then it was me, Mike, Warrior, and there was someone else. I don't remember her name now. But we did that, and then it branched off. I was like, you know what? I kind of want to do this on my own, and started BRAP, and I named it Basement Radio Arcade because, I always thought where I used to live, I gamed downstairs in the basement. I still do. I had a gaming room there, and I have a gaming room here. So I always called it my little arcade in the basement. That's how I came up with the name.
Nice.
Basement Radio Arcade. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, Eric Jackson and B Money are the two of the more tenured panel members of BRAP. They've been with me for a couple of years now, and then Slow-Mo Backslap and Gaming Forte are the newer additions. So big shout out to those guys. But we've had a couple other panel members on. We used to have the Drunk Cat, if you guys know him on Twitter. Alcohol Holocaust. Yeah, we used to have Al was actually with us last week when we had Paul from Red Gaming Tech on.
Okay.
Al used to be a part of the show. Mr. Megadov used to be part of the panel. I feel like Lemieux 66. He's on Twitter, but he doesn't really tweet a lot.
Yeah, I don't know that name too well. I know the player, of course.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's actually a big Penguins fan, so
of course.
And that's actually his gamer tag, believe it or not. And I've known him for like 18 years on Xbox Live, but yeah, and then him, and then I think we had Mamacita on for a little bit. I think that's kind of. I hope I'm not forgetting any of the former panel members of it. If I do, I apologize. But
that's a good people
team,
though.
Yeah, no. I've been lucky. I've been having that. I've had some wonderful people. Like I said, everyone's been fantastic, and I really appreciate the past panel members and the current panel members as well. I mean, everyone's just been great supporting BRAP, and we're not the biggest channel out there, but I do think that we put out some really quality content. We don't do the console war stuff. We joke around. Some people say that we're ponies, and depending on the week, some people say
It's
that
gonna be
I'm
a fun
Xbox.
week for that discussion.
Yeah. But so a lot of it's what I realize is that some of it's culture, like where I don't even know how to describe it. Like I grew up in a culture where like we used to, my friends and I would haze each other consistently, right? We're always breaking each. By the way, is this PG-13 podcast? I want to make sure I'm not.
No, you can go free. I wouldn't go X-rated, but you can go R.
Okay, all right. So yeah, I grew up in that culture. We're always breaking each other's balls, and that's And so like we do that on BRAP with the whole console war stuff. We actually poke fun at the console war stuff, and I don't think people realize that. But we also make fun of each other. Like right now in the DM, we're pulling receipts on Gaming Forte right now because he said that the PlayStation 5 was going to get delayed, and now here we are with the June 4th event. So Slummo is actually in the BRAP DM pulling up like Forte's word for word what he said on previous BRAP episodes and what Forte's recently said on his podcast. So we're just hazing him right now. But a lot of it's in good fun. But we've had some really great guests on, which is really cool because, again, we're not the biggest channel, but we've had game developers on. We've had David Jaffe on a couple times. We had Ryan McCaffrey on from IGN.
Nice.
We had John Linneman from Digital Foundry.
Yeah, I remember. I watched. Yep.
Yeah, and then more recently, last week we had Paul from Red Gaming Tech. That guy is super insightful, by the way. Just a wealth of knowledge. I was like blown away. I was like, "Here, take the mic," and he just, I was like, I learned so much from listening to him talk about PC architecture and the architecture of the new console, the new gaming consoles that are coming out. And he was just such a wonderful guest. We also had like Christian Allen on. He's a game developer. I think he works for Epic now. I don't think he's doing development. He does something with the Unreal Engine.
Okay.
I think I think he helps other developers out with it or something. But he's actually somebody. Yeah, he's someone who used to work on Ghost Recon back in the days, the old Ghost Recon games. And then also I think he worked on Halo 3 a little bit. He was actually a Bungie for a little bit. So yeah, man, we've been lucky, man. We've been blessed to have some really great guests on.
Yeah, and I was going to say, and speaking from experience here for our show, right? We're not the biggest channel, not the biggest show, but it's really all about the quality of content, the conversation, and the people you have on. I mean, I can point, certainly not going to call anyone out, but right, I can point to some major publication shows and stuff, which, there's nothing there, right? There's no depth to their content, and it just happened to have an audience because they're just much bigger. Or you get the other shows that really just thrive on controversy and want to stir up shit every week, which we do neither. So, but no, So congrats on the show. Congrats. So that is October. I checked it out. I have my notes right here. October 28th, 2015 was your first episode, and funny enough, your topic was Halo 5. So, which is crazy, right? Because Halo 5 is about to be 5 years old. It just goes to show you how quickly how quickly the time has gone. So, but let's talk about, besides the podcast, let's talk about your background in gaming itself. And I got to throw a little joke at you because when I was on your show, we joked about you having just at the time drank the PC Kool-Aid.
Yes.
So I know that hasn't always been the case, but go back to kind of where you started. I don't know if you're old and bearded and bald like Dan and I are here. But when did you start? When did you get into gaming? What got you into gaming? And coming up through the generations.
Oh man, I've been doing this a long time. I will say that I've been gaming since I was 5 years old, so 1982.
So we're right in the same ballpark. I'm born 78. So
yeah. So Atari 2600.
Yep.
And ColecoVision.
Yep. Classics.
Yeah. So I just remember playing Pole Position, Space Invaders. I think was probably. Well, no, Pong would be one of the first games I played, and then Space Invaders and Pac-Man and Pitfall.
Loved it.
Yeah, Pitfall was great, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was a really cool time.
So was that like your dad or family that got you into it?
Yeah, it was my dad. My dad and my older sister were they went out and they got the consoles because we had a cousin who had the ColecoVision, and then my sister was like, "Oh, I want that too." So my older sister, that she went on and got it, and they were like, they really didn't want me to play it first because like I would break the joysticks on the Atari a lot because they were very, I think they were kind of fragile. From what I remember, there was like one button in the joystick, right? And I'm 5 years old. I used to like hold that thing like with a death grip, right? And I yank it back and forth, and I was always breaking it, so they used to get mad. But yeah, I mean so it was them who, through buying these consoles, it really introduced me to gaming, and I never looked back from there.
That's awesome.
Full throttle.
So you kind of been in it every generation going up.
Yeah, I have. And I think the one thing I like, there's certain there's something to be said when you have that, I think that perspective, Ains, of having lived through all the console generations.
100%. That's literally why I founded Season Gaming. It's just giving a perspective from people who understand where this has been for 30 years. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think not that younger gamers don't have an appreciation, but I don't think they understand where the way we do. And maybe they do. Maybe some have, experienced some of the older games, gone back and done more retro gaming. So I shouldn't say all, but I think our perspective is unique in the sense that we've seen significant paradigm shifts in gaming. When you go from the 8-bit era to 16-bit, from 2D to 3D was just a huge
massive
leap in terms of game design. And I would say that's probably, in my estimation, probably the biggest leap that we've seen in console gaming, that 2D to 3D. But yeah, man, I mean, I've gamed on almost every platform, man. Experienced the first Final Fantasy, first Metal Gear games, first Mario games, first Zelda, first Metroid games. It's just
all revolutionary in some ways.
Yeah, I mean, Ninja Gaiden always stands out to me because it was one of the first games that had like a cinematic cutscene. If you remember the dueling ninjas, remember that?
Yep.
So
gorgeous.
Yeah.
At the time, it really was. So
it absolutely was. To see what they did with like sprites to make that look that way was very, very impressive. I mean,
no doubt.
Yeah. So it just, like I said, I never looked back, man, and I just been gaming ever since. And now, as you mentioned, I've gone on the PC gaming now, which I love.
Yeah. So, we like to joke about it, but yes, it is. It's best of all worlds when you game on everything. That's kind of like the focus of our site as well. Is we've gained a lot of new contributors and people working content through Season Gaming now, and we all play on everything. I mean, it's just the nature of it because that gives you the best perspective. So,
absolutely.
Shout out to everyone in chat. Some of the regulars. Alden, what's up? Carl's talking about Turrican too again. Someone needs to shut him down. I'm gonna have to demod him, I think. Hey, Van's in the chat too, and Persian Night, Bad Big Games. What's up, guys? Matt, good to see you. So before we kind of get into the big topics and to our main discussion, a few housekeeping items I wanted to mention real quick. So this week, actually, I think on Memorial Day, we launched the new Season Gaming. So the site has been completely revamped, completely different look, and it's really kind of set up for more of a multimedia site to take us into next generation. So you'll see more features, more videos, more things of that nature that's, like I said, more fully featured, less like a blog, more like a fully featured site. But of course, still no ads, nonsense, clickbait, links, paid promotions, none of that bullshit. So really proud of it. So definitely check it out. And traffic's been amazing. So thank you all and listening for the support. Another thing I wanted to shout out is new merch. So we've got 2 new designs in the merchandise store. If you're not familiar, any merchandise that we sell for Season Gaming, we donate 50% of the revenue to Special Effect, the charity out of UK, and Able Gamers, the charity out of the US. So we split it 25% each. And for these 2 new designs, which I'll throw up on the screen real quick, through Monday, we're donating 100%. So if you buy anything with these 2 new designs on it, we will donate 100% of the revenue to the charities when the end of the month comes. So this is Synthwave version 2. This is one of Diego's favorites that he's designed for us. It's one of our favorites as well. I know Dan and I have already ordered ours. And really like the look of this one. And then this is, we're calling Brushstroke. This is just another one that is out there as well. And you can get it in shirts, hoodies, men, women, mugs, stickers, all that stuff is out there. So check out our store and really appreciate the support. We saw some orders as soon as they went live. So super, super appreciative of that, as will the charities be as well. So awesome. And then I would feel kind of remiss if I didn't mention kind of what's going on in the country right now on the U.S. side. So it is a very, very kind of disturbing and troubling time with the things that are happening across major cities. And I never get political, don't even really talk about it on Twitter too much. But I just want to say to everyone, as a gaming community, just be good to one another. There are obviously, even if you're kind of at home in a different city, there are ways that you can help or contribute or other things like that. So, I just be good to one another. That's really all I can say. Because it's kind of depressing, sad to see that we're still dealing with a lot of these same issues, in 2020. So anyway, don't want to bring the mood down. Let's get into some conversation here on PS5 Showcase. So let's start there, guys. I think it's fair to say that was the biggest news of the week that Sony dropped yesterday. We're going to get finally over an hour-long showcase from Sony directly on PlayStation 5 games this coming Thursday, June 4th. It's at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Central European Standard Time. So let me read this quote, and then we'll get to talking about your guys' kind of thoughts, predictions, hopes for this show. So one thing to note here is that nowhere, even on the PlayStation blog, nor Jim Ryan's comments, did they mention the console itself. They did not say that this is going to show the PlayStation 5 console. They did not say that they're going to be going into any detail there. Now they might, but from the way it's reading, it doesn't look as though. So what he said was, that's why I'm excited to share that we'll soon give you first look at the games you'll be playing on PlayStation 5 after it launches this holiday. The games coming to PS5 represent the best in the industry from innovative studios that span the globe, blah, yada, yada. Studios, both large and small, those newer and those more established, have all been hard at work developing games that will showcase the potential of the hardware. So, Enrique, we'll start with you, man. I know I don't want to get into some of the things. I see some of the conversations of back and forth you get into on Twitter with some of these guys around PlayStation 5 and games and whatnot.
Hey, by the way, a lot of it's fun though. Like I know. Lord, I just want it because some people take it like I had somebody take it really like to another level with me and like curse me out. I'm like, and I was going back and forth with Lord King. Big shout out to the Iron Lords and Lord King, by the way.
Great guys.
Great guys. Look, it's more like trash talking. Like I said, that culture of breaking each other's balls, and so somebody actually did take it like to another level and thought that like I was actually like an argument with Lord King, and that's not even what was happening. So
no, King gets into plenty of those, man, and anyone who knows King knows that's just how he is.
And I love it. Like he reminds me of one of my best friends, who. Like when I get on the phone with him, like we don't even exchange play, like we don't even say hello. We just immediately start breaking each other's balls. It's not even like, hey, what's going on, man? It's just immediately we start like hurling insults at each other. It's just that's just how we've always been like that for
you said it earlier, right? There is part of that gamer culture, especially among all the guys, right? If you grew up with them or game together, that's just what you do. You just talk shit on each other, constantly, and it's all in good fun. And you do get those people every once in a while that take it too seriously, and they shouldn't. And it is what it is. Yeah. So shout out to a bunch of the guys in chat, man. Awesome to see you, Fonz. I see Grounded Gamer. Fonz, I just want to tell you that I do prefer a 30 frame per second experience because it is cinematic, and I'm just going to leave that out there for you to deal with. And
I think somebody in one of Fonz's videos said, "Do you move at 60 frames per second in real life or something like that?" And I was like, "What? Did someone really say this?" Like Fonz tweeted that out. I was blown. I was mind blown that someone even say that.
But no, shout out to Wilmy. What's up, Wilmy? And Van, good to see you. Van, Jordan, another regular in the house. Good morning, guys. But no, if you haven't checked out Fonz's latest video, it is about that discussion of 30, 60 frames and us basically wanting to, as console gamers, we should be holding developers to a higher standard on this next generation hardware, right? There's no reason at all that we should not have the option for 60 frame games on Series X and PlayStation 5. So that's a whole nother discussion. Let's get to the Oh, Wilmy, man, appreciate that. $15 super chat from Wilmy. King David coming for Brap's knees. I think everyone has seen you and David going back and forth this week.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I had to come after him a little bit because he had said that the June 4th event was not going to happen, that Sony wasn't showing us anything in June. So, I had to bust his chops a little bit.
Yeah, I get you. Oh, Fawn said he's dropped the latest video today on Cyberpunk, and I know Fawn's, you and I and Dan as well shared the love of Red Dead Redemption and upcoming Cyberpunk. So I will definitely check that out this afternoon. Awesome. So let's get to, we keep getting distracted. Let's get to the PlayStation 5 showcase. Enrique, show's going to be a little over an hour long. All games, they said big and small. In your opinion, let's do two things. What do you think we are going to see? And what would, in your ideal showcase for PS5, what would they show?
All right, let me go with what I think they'll show. I think we're going to see some first-party stuff.
Hold on one second, Enrique. Hold on 1 second. Because I don't know what just happened, but Van just dropped $100 super chat. Oh, wow. I don't know why. I don't know if he forgets who Dan and I are, and that we've said before, we're not worth even 10% of that. So I just I'll thank you, Van, and we'll definitely have some barbecue with that. What are you doing is the right question, Dan. I don't know, but Van, thank you so much, man. That is ridiculously generous. I don't even know what to say right now. I'm kind of awestruck. So thank you. Enrique, I didn't mean to cut you off, but that took me by surprise, dude. So please go ahead.
No, that's awesome, man. So I think they're going to show us first party stuff. I think and I don't know if it's going to be. There may be some first party launch stuff in there, and there may be some things that are probably in the distant future. I think one thing that Sony does is they like to get their their fan base hyped up, right? So they may show like a CGI trailer of a game that's in development that may not be coming out, until like 2022, right?
I mean, they're good at doing that, right? And they know how to build hype.
Yeah, they're almost like they're kind of I think the one thing with Sony, I think from a presentation marketing perspective, I think them being in the entertainment industry and movies and music, I think that
that's a good point.
Yeah, I think that's something that really kind of helps them in the presentation and maybe the marketing per se of the PlayStation brand. They're just something different. I don't know how to articulate this, but there's something different about, and not that the Xbox shows or the presentation of the Xbox shows are bad. I don't want anyone to think that. That's not what I'm saying. I think often when you compliment one, people think that you're dissing the other, and that's not. Those two things aren't binary. But I think that there's just something about the PlayStation presentation. It just, again, I don't know how to describe it. It's just different, and I mean it like it just has this. I don't know. I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense. It just
no, it does.
It sort of pops more, I guess. I don't even know if that's right.
I think
actually, Persian Knight says it's elegant. Maybe that's probably the best way to describe it, I guess.
It could be, because it feels like at times that when they put on, and we saw it with kind of the state of plays, right? The production value just seems to be higher.
Yes.
And yes, I don't know. I don't know why that is, because clearly to put on some of the inside Xboxes, and if you don't know, Enrique, Dan and I have ranted before about inside Xbox and how, for lack of a better word, cringy some of them have been. But, it takes a lot of money and time to plan those events, and they pay those people, the presenters, they pay the developers. So they're obviously, and it goes without saying, Xbox has the funding. They obviously have the means to do it, and in some cases probably even are spending as much to do it. I just don't think they're as in touch with what their audience wants to see.
Yeah. I mean, I could see that. And again, I'm not bringing up the presentation of Sony to bash Microsoft, because I know somebody listening is like, oh, Enrique's a pony, because I get that a lot.
I see. Wilmy described it as, does it make your nipples hard?
Yes, it does, Wilmy. It does. So. But I think that, like you said, the presentation of it is just at a different level. So I think we'll see those high production values with this. I think that they're going to show first party games. I don't have. So it's interesting. I heard about this June 4th event. Well, maybe a month ago. And I actually tweeted it out, and I think that's how the banter between King and I started, because he's like, "Oh, it's not happening." I'm like, "No, it is happening." And here we are. June 4th is happening. And I remember people were like, "Oh, that's not it's not happening." When I tweeted it out, I'm like, "No, just mark your calendar. It's happening." And then here we are. And I think they'll definitely, like I said, show first party. They'll show some first party launch stuff. They're going to show, I think, some of the partnerships they have with some of the developers, some of the exclusives. I wouldn't be surprised if you see something from Blue Point.
Yeah,
because they are working on a exclusive game.
Yeah, the rumor is Demon Souls remaster. I think we talked about that last week or the week prior, and some people are kind of indifferent to that, but I would be a huge fan of that personally.
Oh, I would too. I wouldn't be surprised if we hear some other games that have been on PS4 that they announced go to PC. I know it's a PS5 event, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something like that.
Just expanding that kind of ecosystem.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see them taking a popular exclusive and maybe discussing that game going PC, or maybe because I think to the dismay of the hardcore Sony fans, Sony is going to go that route. They may not go day and date per se, and I don't buy the argument that it devalues the platform. It's another way for them to make money, right?
Yeah, absolutely right.
Yeah, why wouldn't you do that? I mean, you're putting your game on a platform where those people on PC, majority of them are probably never going to buy a PlayStation, right?
No, that's what the data shows, is those dedicated PC guys, not like us who kind of play on everything, but there's dedicated PC gamers, right? That it doesn't matter, that they'll play it if it comes there. Look how many PC guys are playing Halo now that they're re-releasing on Steam, who have said, they never played it on Xbox. They haven't played Halo since Halo 1 or Halo 2, like Halo Reach for the first time. So, yeah, there's definitely an audience there, and I think the data suggests, and we've seen it from Xbox over the past couple of years, it doesn't really impact the overall sales of a franchise. So, quick shout out, Matt, I saw your $10 super chat, man. Super appreciate that. Matt's always super supportive. Persian Knight, thank you. I think someone said they just ordered their first shirt as well, and some first-time watchers. Just crazy appreciative, guys. Thank you so much. And what did you say, Fonz? Damn it, I missed something I was going to say. Fonz said, outside the inside Xbox shows, I prefer the big Xbox events over PlayStation big events, which I would agree with. I think the Xbox conferences are done really well. But he said Sony will show the better games, which traditionally, over the past few years they have, right? So
yeah, and I keep hearing that, and I don't know if this means that we're going to actually physically see the PlayStation 5 console for the first time, but I've been hearing is that they'll be showing games running on the actual PlayStation 5. So I don't know if that means they're going to say this game's actually running on PlayStation 5, or in fact they're going to show us the actual console. But my understanding is that Sony's goal was to leading up to this this event, they wanted to show games actually running on the PlayStation 5 as opposed to a PC, right? Or or a dev kit or anything or something like that. They want to show people what this console's capable of, and they're going to show games running on the PlayStation 5 hardware. Now again, I don't know if that means they're going to show it, but that's what I keep hearing, and I keep hearing that. It's funny, I hear stuff from people out there, they're so coy about stuff. It's like, oh, they're going to deliver. And I'm like, well, what are they going to deliver? Oh, you wait, you'll see. And we hear things and stuff. I know that they have some things in the burner that are going to excite a lot of people. I don't think they'll show it at this show.
Yeah.
But definitely, like I said, first party. I think there's going to show some third party partnerships that they have with some developers. I think that obviously we're going to see some smaller studios. I know Wushu Studios is working on my understanding was a PS5 launch game. I don't know if that's still kind of the target for them, but
I don't know. We reported on that several months ago now, and off the top of my head, my memory, I don't remember what Wushu's working on. So they did announce, at a high level what they were doing.
So
Dan,
yeah, so
sorry,
we'll see
Dan.
that.
Dan with the $1 super chat. Dan, I think you spent too much as well. You know how that goes.
I do.
What's up, guys? Lucky Paul, good to see you, man. So
Yeah, so I do want to see. Obviously, I think we all want to see the bangers. I think they're going to show some bangers there. I think they're going to bring it. This is their showcase. This is the first time that we'll see, outside of that demo, games running on the PlayStation 5. Yeah. I hope they show Horizon Zero Dawn 2.
Yep.
If there's a wish list of games that I want to see, it'd be like, Sony gets a lot of flack for not having like a, first party online shooter or whatever, multiplayer game. Maybe they bring SOCOM back. Maybe with the acquisition of Insomniac, maybe we see a Resistance game.
I hope so. Yeah, we've talked about that.
But I will say this: the one thing I noticed, Ains, with the release, you notice how the controller's black now.
Oh yeah. We kind of figured that, right? It's going to be interesting to see if they do options right at launch, because not a lot of consoles. I'm trying to think of any console that's launched with more than one color option on day one. I don't know what that would be, but yeah,
I can't think of any. Yeah, I can't think of any.
So
I see people. Yeah, go ahead, man.
No, go ahead.
I see people saying Bloodborne 2. That's not going to happen. We're not going to see that.
I wish we did, but they've got Elden Ring to finish first.
So. Exactly. Yeah. I think we may see something from Capcom at this show. Maybe the return of a franchise that people like, or that people have wanted.
Yeah.
But that's really kind of what I think is going to happen. And again, obviously my wish list is, Horizon Zero Dawn, maybe a Spider-Man 2. I think they'll probably show off a new title. And then maybe, like you said, like we talked about Demon Souls, maybe Blue Point shows that at this event. But I keep hearing from people that they're bringing it for this show. I did hear too that and Jeff Grubb actually reported on this from VentureBeat. He said there's going to be a lot of games, but the amount of games that they were planning on showing at this event, they've actually scaled back a little bit. Okay. So I wonder if that means they'll show those games at a later event. Who knows? We'll see.
Well, I mean, we know, one thing Dan and I always talk about is that Sony is incredibly good. Just in general in marketing, they're incredibly good. But one of the things they're almost good at as well is almost like trolling, is that as soon as Xbox kind of announces something that starts to get some buzz, Sony knows how to announce something to kind of steal some of that thunder. And it wouldn't surprise me knowing that Xbox is going to have a first-party July event, that Sony saves some stuff in the chamber for either late July or, early August, I'm sure. So we'll see. But Dan, I know we've talked about this a little bit. I know, obviously Spider-Man 2, I would assume, is damn near top of the list for you. But what do you think, or what are you hoping we see from Sony here? Is there anything outside of Spider-Man 2 that you would really hope, or, do you have any hunch that we may see?
I mean, I'd love to see Horizon Zero Dawn 2. At this point, I don't know even how far they would be in development for that. But that's probably up there too. Yeah. Short of that, man, I mean, I just want to see more games. I want to see what these new systems can do, like the Unreal demo, the Unreal Engine demo that they showed.
Yeah.
I don't want to see the hacky, hokey stuff, just show me some games. An hour is pretty long too.
Yeah, it's a long show. I mean, that's almost an E3 conference, right?
Yeah, that's a lot. But show me some games, show me some new stuff, show me some stuff that I haven't seen before that's going to make me want to buy your console. I've said that about PlayStation. I've said that about Xbox.
You said that about Switch.
Yeah, they just released, the remaster, which is fine, because I'm going to buy them because I'm stupid. But I'm excited to see what they have. We'll see. They're very good at marketing, like you said. They're very good at kind of trumping Xbox when they come out with a piece of news. But they're going to go here the 4th, and they're going to probably run with it for at least a month until Xbox comes out with their July stuff. I don't know what's actually coming for Xbox in June. They've been kind of quiet, so that it really is just new games. That's what I want to see. I want to see new
Yeah.
stuff. I want to see stuff that, that's not, third party. I like to see some first party stuff, but I know for sure you can't. There's no way they have that much stuff, first party stuff to fit the
No,
whole.
we've talked about it, right? We've talked through the first party developers that Sony has, and you look at from Naughty Dog to Santa Monica to Sucker Punch. Their games either released last year or this year. There's no way they have anything big to show for PS5 this early. Now, Horizon Zero Dawn's a little different because that came out in 2017, so it's definitely possible that we could see at least a teaser for Horizon Zero Dawn 2 from Guerrilla. Yeah, and that game is absolutely stunning. So thinking about that world on PlayStation 5, it wouldn't surprise me to see a teaser, which would kind of blow everyone away in that regard. So see a lot of people in chat talking about, Persian Knight says Horizon Zero Dawn with a flying Stormbird. That would be incredible. Diego has just lost the plot. He's talking about Spider-Man 4. I don't quite know what's going on there.
Yes.
But yeah, I think people really want to see some of these big games. I mean, Spider-Man, it goes without saying that Spider-Man, Horizon Zero Dawn, and God of War were the big, big kind of three for PlayStation 4. So people are already waiting for sequels. But to your point, Dan, I'm looking forward to those. Don't get me wrong. They're going to be incredible. But it'd be nice to see some new IPs as well.
Yeah. It's interesting. Jim Ryan's really set the bar here now, because he talked about, next generation, like maybe he was taking shots at Microsoft here.
Yeah, we're going to get to that.
Yeah. So his comments, he really kind of set the bar for this show. So my expectation going into this is that, hey, you, like Dan said, like I want you to show me why I need a PS5. And again, from what I understand, that's the purpose of the show. Sony wants to show people what games running on this actual console, the actual retail version of this console, running on that, so that there's that's running on PC, right? Or that, that's not really actual, what gameplay footage is going to be like. To show people that what these games are going to look like and what the machine's capable of. So he set the bar high already. And my expectation is that they're going to show next generation games. Like they're going to show us what this machine's capable of. And I think if they don't, I know myself, and the Brat panel we'll take him to task on that, but especially after the comment that Jim Ryan said this week about
he did set it up in that regard, especially, which we're going to get to here in a second, the backwards compatibility comments. So we'll end on two things. One, Van's asking for NAC 3. I think he speaks for all of us. We all need to see NAC 3. But no, Diego's right. At the end of the day, we want a good show out of Sony. We want a good show out of Xbox, and there's a whole bunch of other shows that are coming in June, which we're going to touch on as well. Just to Dan's point, Dan says it the best, man. We just want to see some new games. That's it. Show us some new stuff. So to your point, Enrique, about this whole Jim Ryan comment. So this has been strange to me, because if you think about Sean Layden, very, very different person from Jim Ryan. And Sean Layden was kind of above the bar, almost like Phil Spencer, right? In the sense of super knowledgeable, super likable, and they stayed out of the weeds for the 99% of the time for the BS. You take that down a notch, and Jim Ryan has already said some kind of controversial things. And of course, Aaron Greenberg had to say something back. And so we've had these backwards compatibility wars that have been discussed over the past couple days. So real quick, let's talk about the actual functionality that we know about today, so that we can be clear on what we know definitively. So Xbox came out this week and said that they've already said previously that anything that works on Xbox One today will work on Series X without any other effort. Developers don't have to do anything. Gamers don't have to do anything. You can play your Xbox One games, your 360 games that are backwards compatible, and your OG Xbox games that are backwards compatible. What they announced this week was they've been working on some new technology, which gives them the capability to add HDR to older titles, even titles as old as OG Xbox games that weren't originally designed with HDR in mind. And that they'll also looking to increase frame rates on older games, in some cases going from 30 frames per second to 60, or 60 frames per second to 120 FPS. So that is not only great news, because it's just forwards compatibility, right? Or downwards compatible, is just keeping our games as we go forward, not needing to have an Xbox One continue to be plugged in. and just, putting everything in there and making sure it works. Again, we've talked about it, right? It's similar to PC architecture. If you upgrade your GPU and your CPU, you don't expect to have to rebuy games or have compatibility issues. You just want to be able to play the games you already own. PlayStation side. So in the previous presentation, they said PlayStation 4 titles will work. Some of them are going to be improved, but it's a case-by-case basis, according to Cerny. And then we saw some information this week that Eurogamer reported out that said that as of April, the PlayStation 4 dev kits have been updated with some new software, which will allow developers to make games compatible on the PlayStation 5. And that after July certification, meaning if a game goes to certification after July of this year, it must also work on the PlayStation 5. So what this, they haven't been super clear. We don't really know all the details yet, but what this kind of tells us is that there is some developer work needed here to get games from the PlayStation 4 to work on the PlayStation 5. And so we don't really know if that means games are going to be a little more limited. We don't know if all developers are going to do this. We don't really know the full details of what that means, but it does seem to be a slightly different approach from what Xbox is taking. So I'll stop there, guys, before we get to the Jim Ryan and Aaron Greenberg comments. Any comments on kind of this functionality from both the consoles here?
Bring it on, man. I didn't have money, in either one of these systems so that I can not play them. I don't need 15 different consoles sitting underneath my TV. I want two. I want the PlayStation and I want the Xbox. Now, obviously, Xbox has been doing this for a number of years. It seems to be working. They're doing it, at a different level. If I have to, I don't see the point of, what are these devs going to, actually put in that extra work so you can bring a, one of these games to the next generation, especially ones that are, so far back. That's my question to this whole thing. I hope they do. But it's so unclear, like exactly what they're trying to do with this. Instead of just like, okay, here, you plug in your hard drive and now you can play these games. It kind of drives me nuts. And I want, my library to transfer with me. I think everybody does. That's one of the
You just want it seamless.
Right.
It should be just turn on your PS5 and play PS4 games if you want, period.
Right. That's how it should be. And it looks like how Xbox is doing it. It looks like maybe some games will be like that for the PS4.
Especially the major ones, right? They already said this week that Last of Us 2 will play on the PS5 without issue.
Yeah.
Which should be expected, right?
Right. And all their first party stuff, it's probably going to be fun. It's just, I don't know. It's just, I wish stuff would be clearer with Sony. Like, I really, if I were to say right now, I would say I'm probably leaning towards, I'm going to buy both. But if I were just to pick one, it'd be a PS5 because I can still play my games on my Xbox, because they've done all this stuff, which is awesome. And they're very consumer friendly. They've got Game Pass. My TV doesn't run anything past 60 FPS. So, there's certain titles that I want to see, this goes back to the games from before, in order to make that decision. But the reality is, this is stuff that people expect, and people that are saying that they're not, and this is, who cares about old games? I do, because I bought them.
That comment just drives me bonkers, especially someone who's gamed for so long and has so many games and consoles. It's so stupid.
I want my library. It's not rocket science. That's what people want. That's why PC gaming is the biggest in the world, is because people can just pop in a game, that ran on like DOS and still play it on Windows, and it's crazy to me that.
Well, it'd be like saying, you have your Steam library, right? And then you buy. I just built this PC this year, right? Build this PC, and the games I bought on Steam don't work on it. That makes no sense.
Makes no sense. None. So just give us, be consumer friendly and be more transparent. So hopefully after July or June 4th, we'll know a little bit more about everything that's going on, and we can kind of relax and and worry about other stuff. So
yeah. I hope so. So Enrique, I'll say these comments from these guys and then give us your thoughts. So Jim Ryan came out And again, this is where it gets ridiculous. Remember, this is CEO and executive vice president level comments here. So Jim Ryan comes out and says, we do believe in generations, and whether it's the DualSense controller, 3D audio, multiple ways the SSD can be used. Man, they're proud of that SSD. We are thinking that it is time to give the PlayStation community something new, something different that can really only be enjoyed on the PlayStation 5. And then this was after Xbox announced their backwards compatibility plans, by the way. Aaron Greenberg, of course, took to Twitter several hours later and said, and this is basically a direct response, right? Xbox believes in generations of games that play on the latest hardware, taking advantage of next-gen innovation, offering more choice, value, and variety than any console launch ever. All of our studio's titles launch in the Game Pass, and you get all of those next-gen game upgrades for free. So they're kind of going back and forth, but what this really kind of tells me is there are different approaches here. They wouldn't be making these comments if there weren't different approaches.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we talked about this on Crossfire last night. Like, I don't think there's a wrong or right approach. I think that the approach comes down to the individual consumer. Like, look, guys, I think backwards compatibility is great. I think it's cool that, that with the Xbox, you can boost the performance. Personally speaking, like Brap, like that's not, I don't really play a lot of backwards compatible, like older games. I just don't. Okay. My primary focus is playing newer titles. So for me as a consumer, what Jim Ryan said, that's music to my ears. I like that they're focusing on, the PlayStation 5 only, and because I want to see or experience new types of gaming experiences that are only capable on new hardware. So and if you guys, I don't know if you guys follow Optimus Code on Twitter.
Yeah.
But he's talked a lot about that too, like from a design perspective, right? I think a lot of people conflate graphics with, design, but from a design perspective, like design a game specifically for the latest and greatest hardware, right? That's kind of what I want. And I'm not saying that, backwards compatible isn't a good thing. I think it's a great thing. It's a nice value add. I think I hope Sony. I think I heard Dan say transparency. I hope they're a little more transparent because right now I think they're saying we heard 400 games I think from Sony originally, and now we're hearing about 1,000. And which one is it? Right?
They're dancing around it.
Yeah, and they may not be at a point where Microsoft is with backwards compatibility. And me personally, I'm okay with that. Like I'm not going to say badge Sony because they're not there. Yeah. And frankly, like if their backwards compatibilities wasn't as robust as Microsoft, for me personally, again, this is Brap's opinion, I'd be okay with it because me as a gamer, I want those new gaming experiences when I buy new hardware. Okay. So I'm okay with leaving generations behind, if you will, like the traditional sense of moving on from game generations. Although again, I'm not saying there's not value in backwards compatibility. So I know someone listening to me saying, "Oh, he's bashing it." No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying for me personally speaking, like I see the value. It's not something that I would probably use a lot, but I could see that someone else would see a lot of value in bringing their games over and wanting to play their digital library, upscaled, at 60 frames per second or 120 frames or whatever the case is, or HDR, right? But yeah, you're right. Like it's two different approaches. Microsoft's taking that more, like I think kind of that PC type route. Mm-hmm. Like you talked about,
even at the hardware level.
Yeah,
their hardware is more like a high end, custom PC.
Absolutely. Where Sony is really just, hey, we're going to follow the traditional console model, and we're going to make games for PlayStation 5, and we're going to, and that's going to be our focus. And that might be a good that may work for them. We'll see. But I don't. Again, I just want to reiterate. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I think they're both good approaches depending on what you want as a gamer.
Yeah. Well, as we speak, I'm going to put an article on Season Gaming saying you hate Microsoft's approach and Brap is a pony. So I'm writing that as we speak.
People probably agree with you. Like, yeah, you had that pony on you.
So shout out to Chris from our brothers over at NLG. Good to see you, brother. Cloud, good to see you as well, man. So Persian Knight made the point really is that what we're talking about here is at the software level. And when it comes to software, Microsoft, that's where they excel, right? So they have the resources, and they've gone about this in a very fundamental and complete way. Whereas it just sounds like PlayStation knows that they need to have some backwards compatibility, especially as popular as PlayStation 4 was and is. But they're not. Doesn't seem as though they're going to the lengths that the Xbox team is.
Yeah.
So.
Well, they should have it too. I mean, like this is if Sony didn't have backwards compatibility, I'd even though that's not a feature that's like on the top of my list of things that I want, I would certainly hammer Sony for not having that, because we're kind of in an interesting point in gaming. We're kind of pivoting towards that digital future, and I think that it's really about ecosystems now. And so, if you want to keep your people in the ecosystem, you need to allow them to bring some of their content with them, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, again, Sony's maybe not as far ahead as Microsoft. I think Microsoft has done a wonderful job with the BC stuff. I mean, I think that's probably the one area they've really excelled in taking that kind of brunt or that burden off developers to get these games to upscale. And I think you said HDR, 60 frames per second. That to do that like on the fly, that's actually pretty impressive.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
I'd love to see. I hope they kind of do a deep dive at some point into that tech, because I just love that stuff. I geek out over it. So it's really neat. So Damon in chat said new tech is always good. Let's not forget Cell was new tech. Funny enough, Damon, Carl, who's in chat there, Armad, him and I were talking about the Cell architecture on the PlayStation 3 yesterday. Funny looking back at that nowadays. All right. So let's get
Very
into
powerful,
something.
but super difficult to develop for.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we were talking about is, Microsoft with the Series X has taken an approach like we just said. It's really more of just a custom. It's very similar to PC architecture. It's going to be very powerful, very advanced, whereas PS5 is a little more custom, right? They've got a lot of custom things going on, and it's kind of weird to see after the PS4 and Xbox One generation when they finally went to x86. It's weird, and even though PS5 obviously is in that same structure, it's kind of weird to see them go a little more custom again, especially with how much development is cross-compatibility now or crossed over between PC, right?
Yeah.
Because in theory, you would think that developing between PC and Series X is going to be a breeze, and in fact, we've already seen a few developers say that, like the developer of Scorn, right?
Yeah,
so.
it's really interesting. Like Paul from Red Gaming Tech, we asked him about what he's been hearing from developers in terms of, what it's like to develop for the platforms, and what he's hearing right now. And again, I'm going to preface it's not a bash on Microsoft by any stretch of the imagination, guys. He is hearing that it's easier to optimize for PlayStation 5 to develop for, but there are some issues, I think, with the memory bandwidth. I think with PS5 when you do certain things, he really wasn't clear on that. But again, it's not to say that the Series X is in a situation like the PlayStation 3 with cell architecture. That's not.
No, it's not. No.
Yeah, he was saying, and I forget what he said. You can, shameless plug here. If you guys want to go back and listen to the last Saturday's wrap episode with Red Gaming Tech, he does talk about what he's heard from developers, and it was very insightful. And again, this isn't because I know people are going to take this like, oh, he's bad, he's a pony, he's bashing. No, this is just a feedback that that they're that Paul's hearing from developers, and regarding the situation with Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Like part of the issue I heard is that they're not utilizing DX12 Ultimate, so they're still using DirectX 11. Well. Yeah, which is part of the issue. So, but look, both consoles are very, very capable machines. I think, like you said, Haynes, it looks like Sony focused more on like the customization of the SSD, the IO,
throughput speeds.
Yeah, and the there's something else there. The I can't remember what it is now. Optimus Code has talked about this on numerous times, and now I'm drawing a blank. But yeah, right.
Geometry engine?
No, it's something with the the control, the customized control. So he basically explained like Sony really focused on feeding a lot of information fast into the system.
Yep. So
I think as Code explained it, the PlayStation 5 can actually load higher textures faster. And so, that was kind of their focus, if you will, right? Where, like Paul said, like where Microsoft's like, hey, if you want, ray tracing, boom, you can have that. If you want, higher frames per second, boom, you can have it. It's like they took, like you said, it's like that power PC approach to kind of like brute their way to performance. And look, I'll say it again, both consoles are very impressive. Microsoft, you gotta keep their hats off to them. I mean, considering the woes of this generation, the Series X is a damn, like on paper, is a pretty impressive looking piece of hardware.
Yeah, it's incredible, especially for the money you're going to get it for, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's So
yeah, it's gonna be good times, man. I think that's what our community and we're always saying is there are a lot of differences. Don't feed into all the craziness. Both are going to be incredible. Both are going to be offer incredible stuff. So
and AIDS. Look, at the end of the day, man, it really comes down. It really comes down to the talent of the developers and the tools they have.
Of course. Always.
It's so you can have the most powerful hardware, whatever the case is. It's always going to come down to talent of the team and the tools.
You look at something like, I know something like God of War on a base PS4 is a good example. But you even, you can continue to go backwards and you look at like Halo 4 on the 360. What 343 did with 512 megabytes of RAM on the 360 for Halo 4 is absolutely absurd.
It's absurd.
Yeah, or Rockstar with Grand Theft Auto 5. Remember, that's a PS3 and Xbox 360 game. What they did at the time was stunning. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into that. So
yeah, I mean, you look at like a game like Days Gone, right?
Yep.
And you look at what Ben Studio did with the PlayStation architecture, PlayStation 4. What they were able to squeeze out of that with those terrible Jaguar CPUs, to put all those zombies on the screen at one time, and have this open world. I mean, that's pretty impressive from a development standpoint.
No doubt. So since we're on kind of that front and being impressive, Last of Us 2. Let's jump to that. So I don't know if we're gonna have a lot to say, but Last of Us 2, they had the state of play this week. Deep dive. I think it was 26 minutes or something. I checked it out this morning. I actually did not watch it, and Dan, I'm gonna ask you: did you watch it?
No, I'm not watching anything.
No. So Dan and I are of the same opinion. We're both diehard Last of Us guys, ready to jump in when that releases. But we're at the point, both of us, where we don't want to see any more of it. So what I did, Dan, I actually went on YouTube and I scrolled through the timeline to see if there were just like development or interview sections that weren't showing new gameplay. And there weren't, so I didn't watch any of it. I think Neil Druckmann was talking over a lot of it, but I didn't want to see the gameplay. So maybe what I'll do is I'll put it on the background and just listen to it. But so you didn't watch any of it at all?
I didn't even click on it. I refuse. I have been radio silent on it ever since people started spoiling stuff. So I was like, nope, out. No way.
Yep. So, Enrique, you Last of Us fan? You look forward to this?
Yes. Okay. That was my game of the generation.
Okay. All right. Yeah. It's one of my. I'd say it's up there. So BioShock, Last of Us, last gen. I would say probably my two. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
interesting.
Yeah, it's just I'll never forget playing it. It's one of those games, at least for me, that just left a lasting impact on me.
Yeah, me too.
From that opening scene, and that's kind of what I'm like. This is, and I remember playing it. I'm like, oh my god, this is. I had to put the control down. I'm like, wow, what did I just play, right? It had that much impact on me, and few games do that. So
the thing is I've said this before, and I'm actually looking up something right now to share with the audience. So if you haven't watched this, Enrique, so I wrote a very long article on the impact of The Last of Us. And speaking of shameless plugs, we actually turned it into a series that we did a video for. Bert and I worked on this, and I would say it's probably one of the best videos we've ever made. But it's really reflecting on the impact of The Last of Us, its storytelling, and how great of a game it truly is. It hit you in a way that a very good movie does, which was at the time when it released, of course, and still today, was just almost unheard of in gaming.
Yeah, that's a great way to kind of describe it, Ains. I mean, it like you mentioned the movies, like it not many games had that emotional impact. And you, at least for me, I was so engaged in the story and the characters throughout the whole game.
Yep.
Very rare for me do I have that level of engagement for a lot of like story driven games.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's like things that happen in the game that I'm like, oh, okay, this kind of messed the pacing up for me, or they blew their load too quick in the story, and now it's just dragging on, right? None of that happened with The Last of Us. And I did watch the reveal, and
the reveal or the state of play this week.
I'm sorry, the state of play. Yeah, the state of play with the new gameplay.
How'd you like it?
I loved it. I tell you what, this game is super. It's really violent. I've seen a lot of people,
yes.
And I raised this question on Brap. It is violent. Like, it's definitely darker. Like, it's taking a darker tone. But I wonder if I was thinking about this. Like, would people maybe not talk about the level of violence in this game had the main protagonist been a man, right? Because here you have somebody who's a young female, and she is just, and she's a stone cold killer, man.
Yeah. Well, she's had to become one, right? That's the whole point.
And I think, like, at least for me, it's a very powerful statement for me to see that, because we typically don't see, at least in my experience, like gaming, most of the protagonists are males, right? Like, we just talked about Days Gone, Deacon St. John. He's a very interesting character.
The most hilarious name for a character I think I've ever seen. It's one of those stereotypical names, Deacon St. John.
It really is, man. It's that name, it's over the top. It really is. I'm like, Ben, you guys could have done a better job naming this character. Like, it really is. It's kind of over the top, but I wonder if that, just because it's a female protagonist and she's young, and our last memories of her when she's younger, and here she is, and she really is. I mean, she is going to town on people in this game.
Yeah.
You can tell there's more detail in this game in terms of the violence, where I don't know if you guys didn't watch the gameplay footage, or the new gameplay footage.
So
right?
I saw the gaplay footage from when they first, when we first started talking about it, the first reveal and some of those things. Yeah. I haven't watched any. I didn't watch the state of play or the newer stuff. No.
Okay. All right. So I will say
though too.
Yeah, I'll say I won't give away too much, but like, there's things that you hear, like when she's popping off headshots, you can just hear, like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like you can hear the flesh just exploding. It's
going to be brutal.
Yeah, it's going to be brutal. And there's some really cool pop culture references in the game too, by the way.
Okay.
And I'll leave it at that. But that was actually really cool to see that. Because to me that's like, you don't see like a lot of those pop culture references a lot in video games per se. At least that's been my experience.
Not really. No, that's one of the things that has always made Grand Theft Auto stand out, is they do take,
exactly.
They pretty much take every aspect of pop culture over the past few years and put it in their game.
Yeah, no, but this game looked great. I mean, I am super hyped. It's crazy that this game is just right around the corner.
Yeah. 3 weeks.
Yeah, and I'm just, look, man, I'm super excited to play this game. I hope it lives up though to the expectations.
Yeah.
There's a lot of there's lofty expectations for me on this game. You know what I mean? And I don't know if that's fair to have those expectations. But in some ways it's hard not to, right? Given how great the first one was.
Yeah. I'd say for me personally, I have it up there already. As it's been 7 years, but if this isn't one of the top games of the generation for me, I'll be disappointed. Which is weird to say, but it's just the truth. Last of Us holds that special place for me.
Absolutely, man. And I guess unfortunately, we're gonna get to the Metacritic thing. If this game comes out and it's like an 85 Metacritic, people are gonna say it bombed.
Yeah, it's sad but true. If this is less than a 90, people are going to say, "What the hell happened?" No doubt, which is stupid, And I'm not going to care about that. It's going to be how the game impacts me. I just hope it's as impactful as the first game. And to be fair, the first game, I see people criticize The Last of Us for its gameplay elements, and to a small degree, I can see some of that. But in my mind, the gameplay fit the narrative. And it was really the narrative that drove The Last of Us and what made it incredible to me. And the characters, like you said, Joel and Ellie they're some of my favorite characters of all time.
It's a great point, man. Like, it's not, from a gameplay mechanics standpoint, it's not the best game that I played that has like the best
It
mechanic.
It didn't really do anything special.
No, it didn't do anything special. Like it used mechanics from other games, and look, the industry does imitate a lot, but it didn't like do anything that differently that I've never experienced. But that being said, I mean, it's still impressive from the standpoint of not all games can pull that off, especially like if you look at narrative-driven games, like, there's narrative-driven games that have terrible gameplay mechanics, right?
Yes.
So at the bare minimum, they were able to pull off the mechanics, and I think the mechanics for that game, for what it was, complemented that game well.
Yeah, agree completely. Yep.
Yeah.
So, all right. So I'm looking at the date. We're less than 3 weeks away. We're, it's not long now. So I got to make sure I've got time off of work planned. That's going to be a fun one for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So we have, and I don't know if we want to comment on any of these things, guys. They announced some new conferences this week. June is going to be one hell of a busy month. So IGN came out and kind of gave a calendar of some of the things happening with their whole Summer Game Fest. So they're going to have an IGN Expo that runs on June 5th, 8th, and 9th, which is going to be kind of filled with events. You can find that calendar on our site if you want to see exactly what they're going to be kind of showing. And then in between that, from June 6th to 8th, as part of this is going to be this Guerrilla Collective show, which is the show in collaboration with Greg Miller and Kinda Funny Games. So a bunch of indie developers and other things being shown there. And then directly after that, The Escapist is holding an indie showcase as well on June 11th, which is supposedly going to show over 80 indie games as well. So a lot of game shows happening in early June through kind of mid-June. And then finally this week, we heard from Square Enix, and there's going to be a Marvel Avengers live stream on June 24th. So a little over 3 weeks from now, we'll finally get to see more of that game and how development is coming along. So I don't know how much we can say on these shows, guys. I know we're all looking forward to kind of seeing new stuff, seeing what's coming from developers and whatnot. And I know that in between, somewhere in June, IGN is holding a bigger thing where Sony, Xbox, Bethesda, some of the major players are going to be showing some stuff as well. But any comments on these smaller shows? And then lastly, the Avengers piece. Either of you guys, Dan, I assume you are, right? Either of you kind of excited for this Avengers live stream to see what's coming up here?
Yeah, I mean, out of all this stuff, that's the only thing I really want to see. And I don't. The Avengers is just because I'm a big Marvel fan. I really like comics, and I want to see what they've done to improve it since the last time they showed it, which was trash. So hopefully they can do something here and give me another reason to be excited about potentially purchasing it. It comes out at a really bad time, though. Right around Cyberpunk time, I think.
The actual release date? I forget what the release date for that game is. Let me look it up.
It's either a week before or a week after or the same day. I don't know. It's stupid. It's a terrible idea.
September 4th. Yeah. It's 2 weeks prior.
Yeah. Okay. So that's not. Yeah. No,
you'll finish it by then. Come on.
Yeah. Well, isn't it supposed to be like a gas? Isn't that right? Isn't it supposed to be like a extended long?
I think it is. Yeah. Games
it is. Yeah. It's just. What they've shown, we've talked about this offline, Dan, too, is that it really looks like a game, and especially knowing how long it's taken them to do this. They've been working on this game for years. It looks like a game where they really didn't know what they wanted to do with it. And it looks like it's changed direction a few times. So that's why I'm really curious about this live stream to see where it's ended up. Because if your release date is the beginning of September and you're doing a live stream at the end of June, at that point, you're literally just squashing bugs. The game's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. It's just like I'm at the point now where it's just like just give me something. I mean, I'm tired of this. Temper your expectations. No, I'm the one buying this crap, man. I mean, I want you to blow me away. Same thing with Sony. Same thing with Xbox. I want you to show me why I want to buy this stuff. I don't want this. Just give it some time. No. Give me a reason. That's what I said.
Yeah.
Are you interested in this at all, Enrique?
First of all, I agree with Dan. Like, I don't believe in tempering expectations. Show me why I need this stuff. Get me excited. If I'm spending $500, $600 on new hardware, show me the goods. I want to see it. I don't want to wait. So I'm with you there, Dan. I'll say this. The one thing that I am interested in learning more about the Marvel Avengers game. I really wasn't impressed, or I shouldn't say impressed. I wasn't really feeling or vibing what we saw last time.
No, me neither. I thought it looked pretty poor, to be honest with you.
It just, I was like, what is this game? Like, I don't know. Like, they were just, the flow of the game just didn't really do it for me. And I don't know. I think the challenge for me is that from the movie perspective is that I'm so used to the actors from the movies and Iron Man's voice, and then to hear these different voices. And maybe this isn't fair, but it's hard for me to get like invested in these characters coming from the movies, and I don't know if that's going to be an issue for other gamers, maybe
I've seen people say the same thing. I think it is. I'm not even interested. I don't care for the movies that much. I'm one of those weirdos, and I'm not really excited about this game. But even me, just seeing the gameplay footage after 15 plus years of watching Marvel build the MCU, it does feel weird.
Yeah. It does. It really does. It just. And that's like kind of like the first thing that I was thinking of when I was watching this. I'm like, oh, that doesn't sound like, Iron Man from the movies.
Yeah, that's not Rodney. That's Rodney Downey Jr. Like, where is he?
Yeah, and then I think who else was talking? Captain America, I think, was talking to him.
Yeah, it's not Chris Evans, and
Well, they got really good people to do the voice casting, but
they do
so used to the Marvel movies now, so that's what they're especially younger people that are, this is what they've seen, this is what they know. Mm-hmm. So it's gonna kind of throw them off a little bit, but it's just like, well, who did Batman? He sounds kind of ridiculous. I can't remember who it was. It wasn't Nolan North, it was the other one. Gosh,
Batman.
Yeah, what's his buddy's name?
Oh, Travis.
I don't know.
The voice actor. He was in Death Stranding too.
He was in Travis. Is it Travis? Oh god, I'm
drawing Parker.
Parker.
Travis Parker, isn't it?
That's not him, right?
No, he plays Joel though. He plays Joel in Last of Us.
Yeah, I should know that considering what we just said about Last of Us.
Man, what the heck, man?
We got to look this up.
Chad, help us out. Troy Baker, there it is.
Troy Baker, yes.
Thank you, Beezy.
They do have a stellar. They have a stellar cast. I mean, Nolan North, Troy Baker. I mean, those guys are like top tier voice actor.
Who's Travis Barker?
I don't know. He's made up names.
No, he is someone. I don't know what
he do.
Oh, isn't he a drummer?
Yeah, he's a drummer, isn't he?
Sorry, guys. Luckily, we got Beezy to help us in chat. Gaming Forte joined us as well. What's up, man?
What's up, Forte? So I'm interested in seeing that. I'm always anything game related news. I want to see it because I was supposed to go to E3 this year.
Yeah.
We were supposed to stay in the same house.
We were supposed to hang out together, man.
Yeah, man.
We had huge plans. I'm so disappointed.
Man. And it was going to be. It was a great group. It was a couple of the Brat panel members, yourself, the Iron Lords, Nick,
Undead, Nick Downey,
Undead. My buddy, Mr. Boomstick.
Yeah. It was going to be a week-long party, man.
Oh yeah, it really was. Yeah, sure. And so for me to hear anything game related this time, because I was supposed to go to the show, didn't happen. It's gonna be my first E3. I'm excited for any game news, especially now. Anything that's news related outside of COVID, I'm happy to hear.
Right. Point. Or the recent event, yeah.
Yeah, or the recent, yeah. But I will say this: I'm really interested in Thursday as well, not outside of the State of Sony event, because apparently, according to Famitsu, Sega's supposed to have some kind of industry-shaking announcement.
Yeah, that's our next topic. Let's get to it.
Yeah.
Whoa. Segue.
So before, real quick, just want Victor. What's up, Victor? Thanks for joining. He said this is his favorite podcast to listen to as of late. Keep on going. Really appreciate that, brother. Thank you. All right, so hit it up, Enrique. You already kind of jumped us over there. Let's do it. Sega's 60th anniversary is this week. So one of the things I didn't ask you, Enrique, when we were talking about your gaming history, were you a Sega kid or Nintendo kid?
Both.
That's not the right answer.
Okay. I was the 16-bit era. I was a Sega guy.
There we go. Okay, we're good now. You can stay. You can stay.
I mean, come on, like Golden Axe, Phantasy Star.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Now you're speaking. Okay.
Remember Alter Beast? The first time I fired that up, and I was like, "What? What is this? What is this wizardry I'm looking at?"
Yes. Even Elu said it in chat. Both is a cop out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I like that. Our chat quickly said Sega over and over again. See, we got a good community here. We did this right, Dan. We did it right. Yeah. So anyway, it is Sega's 60th anniversary next week, which is awesome. And Gamatsu, one of the editors over in Japan, who has talked about things ahead of time many, many times accurately. I don't have his name in front of me, but he basically said that Sega is preparing a major announcement in Gamatsu next week. Really, and this is a very strange quote to me, but he said on the level of the PlayStation 5 reveal in Wired, which is really strange to me because, of course, people immediately went to Sega's making a new console. No, they're not. No, I don't think that's true. I would love it for it to be true, but I don't think that's true. But what could be Sega's big announcement? What do you guys think that this could be? A partnership? Could it be a major new game release or remaster, remake series? Could it be something as simple as like a mini Dreamcast, mini Saturn? What do you think?
Go ahead, Enrique.
Oh, man, my mind is just running with so many things it could be.
Yeah. And BZ said acquisition, which again has been in the rumors, right? But the one thing, I was actually doing a little research on this because I was a little naive on Sega's state of kind of company at the moment, and I had forgotten that Sega actually is part of Sega Sammy now.
Yeah, Sammy bought them a while ago.
Yeah, I completely forgot that. And so, I know there's been rumors of either a partnership with PlayStation on an exclusive game or even Xbox buying them as a Japanese studio. I don't know. I think that
Microsoft buying Sega would be industry, like would shake the industry.
Oh, it would definitely break Twitter for a day.
Oh, it would. And let me tell you something. That would be my favorite studio acquisition by Microsoft ever. For them to get Sega because of, if you guys remember the OG Xbox, I mean, Sega and them were, they were buddies. I mean,
they teamed up to try and take PlayStation down. Yeah.
Yeah. They had
Panzer Dreamcast.
Yeah. Yep. They had Panzer Dragoon, Orta. They had Jet Set Radio Future.
They did.
Yeah. They had so
Fantasy
many.
Star Online.
Yep. Fantasy Star Online. And that would be, I don't know if that's going to happen, but if it did, that would be huge. So I think it's going to be either an acquisition. I think it's three things: acquisition or a partnership, some kind of exclusive deal with Sony or Microsoft, or maybe a handheld.
Whoa! Oh, okay.
And I say handheld because the handheld market in Japan is huge.
That's true. Yeah, I mean,
and so maybe Sega is kind of dipping the toes and has seen the success of something called the Nintendo Switch.
Never heard of it.
Yeah. And maybe they're doing something Switch-like, I mean, the industry often copies, and maybe they're putting together a Switch-like device. Because look, they have the franchises to pull that off, right? If you think about Sonic the Hedgehog, you think about Phantasy Star, Panzer Dragoon.
If they have the development teams behind it, their IP catalog is ridiculous. Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, they could, you imagine maybe they could put a Yakuza game, in there.
It's true. Yeah. You could put the whole catalog. I mean, Dan would buy it on day one. That's for sure.
Yeah. And then maybe you offer a digital library storefront for the old Sega games. Like we talked about, some of the old arcade games like Golden Axe,
Classic.
Base Area.
Has a Game Gear too, right?
Yeah, they had Game Gear as well.
Yeah. So I mean, that's what I think. That's what I think it will be. I think that those are going to be the three things. I think it's going to be an acquisition. I think for industry, like something that would shake the industry, it would be like some kind of a hardware announcement, like a handheld device, or an acquisition. I don't see like them partnering with Microsoft and exclusives being like shaking the industry, because that's happened already, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Dan, I don't know about you guys or anyone in chat. Anyone see Rise from Your Grave and immediately hear it in the Altered Beast voice?
Yeah,
I can't see that phrase without hearing it.
Yep. Welcome to your doom.
No doubt. Blue Stinger. There you go, Persian Knight. That's a callback. That's a good Dreamcast game, man. Underrated game. Yeah, so I don't know. I hadn't thought about the possibility of a handheld, and you're right. I mean, this is an industry where success drives decisions from other companies, and that would be pretty amazing to see Sega actually announce a piece of hardware that's not a home console, but rather something that could run part of their older library, and then some of their new games coming out. That'd be interesting. And then you got me thinking just saying that. Could they maybe partner with Xbox on something to take advantage of xCloud in some of those European markets and bringing a whole bunch of their titles over in that regard? I don't know. It's interesting. Dan, what are your thoughts here? What are you ready to buy?
Whatever they put out. No, here's the thing. If this guy is like wrong, or it's not like, I mean, it's so hyped up. I mean, I read what he said. I was like, oh my God, man.
Yeah. And typically I'd be the same way. It's like, okay, he's full of crap. But this is a guy who reports on this stuff all the time and has nailed it time after time after time again.
That's fine. Let's see what it is, boy. I mean, the thing is, it's so. All right, so Famitsu is typically more of a PlayStation heavy.
Well, they're Japanese mag,
right. So it's probably has something to do with that. I couldn't even guess. I would like to see a handheld, but at the same time, I don't know if they could compete, and I don't know how they would compete with the likes of like the Switch, because it's number one, it's already established. The only way I can see that happening is if they do that and then partner with, say, Sony, with to bring that kind, their games to that. But then you've got, it's such a weird dynamic, because you've already got like xCloud, which you typically, just put your controller on and play it, right? So I don't know, man. Handheld, it'd be cool. I and we'll see. Maybe that's what it is. I mean, but it's coming out on the same day as the Sony news. So
that's the rumor, right?
Right. Well, isn't that what he said?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what he said.
Yeah. June 4th. Yeah.
So the June 4th. So either it's going to be something that supports whatever showcase they're having, or it's going to be something completely the opposite of that.
Maybe Xbox is pulling a Sony, and maybe Xbox to do an announcement.
Here's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Do. It have to be huge like that. I don't know. I think it can go either way.
Oh my God! Can you guys imagine if Microsoft did that? Like Sony's big day on the stage, and Microsoft's, hey, we just bought Sega. I would be like, you know what? Honestly, as a gamer, I'd be like, yes, finally, we got to fight.
That would be kind of funny, as much as it doesn't matter to me because I'm buying it all anyway. It would be funny just to see the meltdown that would occur.
But what would be awesome about that is that for me, that it's like, okay, Microsoft is they are listening to us. They are investing in games, and I've been very critical of them about the lack of first party stuff, and I think they've done a tremendous job addressing those issues with acquisitions. But something like Sega would be like the feather in the cap, right? And
without a doubt, and especially if they did what they're doing with all their other studios, which is allowing them complete freedom, but also giving them the resources and the development staff to do what they want to do. I mean, if you imagine a revamped Sega under the Xbox Game Studio banner, where they can hire up, expand, and then dive into their IP catalog, that would be ridiculous.
I mean, so having that IP catalog from Microsoft would be pure gold, and that would put them in a very, very good position coming into next generation. I think they're in a good position now, but that would even put them in to me, they do that. Things are looking very interesting, and I like that we have some real competition here, because I want to see both companies kind of push each other, right?
Of course. Yeah. That's what I love about this. Go ahead and keep them competing, because we're the ones that benefit in the end.
Yeah, you think that would be really fit, that narrative though? I mean,
what narrative?
With Phil wanting to have these games available for everybody and everything, buying Sega and taking that much off the table from other gamers, I could see maybe a smaller studio, but man, I don't know if he would, and it's all about money and stuff. Maybe he would. Maybe he's more cutthroat than I thought. If he does, damn.
we've seen other things too. They own Mojang or Mohang or however the hell you say
Right,
it.
and
that Dungeons just released on all platforms. They didn't keep that to Xbox. There's nothing saying they would have to keep all the games
right,
exclusive.
right. Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, I mean, that would probably be the way to do it. And and that's how I guess you would, because that's how you make your money is through those games and through those services and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, some of the rumors in chat here. So BZ said, what about the Xbox Series S, which frankly we know is coming, being a Sega branded console in Asian regions. I know I've seen some people saying that's kind of a crazy thought, but that would be hilarious. He also said Sega, which I think is another thing I hear in my head all the time.
Yeah,
yeah. So
just like that too.
Sega. Yeah, exactly. Sega. Yeah. xCloud Genesis, I'm in. Yeah, AP Cool J, thanks for joining, man. Appreciate it. So, I think there's a lot of possibilities here. I'm just excited. It sounds like Thursday is going to be ridiculous. In fact, I got to make sure, my calendar of work is kind of booked out so I can focus on the proper things.
Oh, yeah. No, me too. I always have a 12:30 conference call, so I hope that the Sega news doesn't drop when I'm on that call.
Yeah. So, all right. So it's going to be a lot of fun no matter what. It sounds like Thursday is going to be a blast, and we'll certainly have a lot to talk about next week. That goes without saying. So going to be cool. A couple other things, guys, I wanted to touch on before we get to what we're playing and current stuff. So Grand Theft Auto 6, we touched on Grand Theft Auto. Obviously, we say it many, many times. Grand Theft Auto 6, one of the biggest IPs, if not the biggest IP in the gaming industry. Whenever it drops, it'll be like a nuke. And the analyst who kind of studies gaming companies and their publishers and their revenue and their marketing budgets, all these things, he's the one that also predicted when Red Dead Redemption 2 was going to launch based on what he saw out of their fiscal reporting. He's basically showed this week that in fiscal year 2024, Take-Two is budgeting almost double the marketing funding that they do on their typical annual there's a certain name for this. SEC filing. SEC filing their marketing budget in fiscal 2024 is more than double what it usually is, and that would indicate the launch of a major title, which of course for Take-Two is probably Grand Theft Auto 6. So that would indicate that we expect to see Grand Theft Auto 6 in 2023 in terms of release date. And that would seem to make sense. Rockstar came out recently, said, yes, Grand Theft Auto 6 is in development, but it's still early. If you think about it, that would also give them time to let next generation kind of settle in. Because one thing, they're probably, for such a big title, going to focus on next-gen consoles. They've got to figure out how to keep GTA Online going and integrate that and bring that up to par on next-gen consoles. So this would give them another basically 3 years or so of development and ready to go into next-gen. So exciting news. I know people thought this may be coming sooner, but we've been saying for a while that, they've said they're still early. And with a game like GTA 6, we know how long Rockstar takes to develop games. This sounds very, very plausible to me.
Yeah, I think so, man. I mean, you're right. It seems plausible because like you said, they take 8 years, 9 years to make a game. I mean, and when was Red Dead Redemption 2? That was 2000.
That was in 2018.
2018. So
yeah, almost 2 years ago already, believe it or not.
Wow. So that would put it at what? Yeah. 5 years development time between games, right? Roughly.
Yeah, and there's some small parts of development that overlap, right? So when you've got artists, you've got storyboarding, all those things that are probably already in place for GTA 6, but the core development across their studios is probably ongoing. Yeah.
Yeah, I tell you what, the thing that gets me excited about Grand Theft Auto is that we'll see a Grand Theft Auto on next generation consoles.
Yeah, me too. I'm actually glad that it's not this cross generational title.
Yeah, me too. And I'm we saw what they did with Red Dead Redemption 2, especially on the if you played it on PC and Xbox.
Don't you start.
Hey, let me tell you, on PC. Yeah, I mean, look, it's impressive on console too. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's an impressive looking game, but on PC,
we say all the time on X1X, it's probably the best looking game.
It might be.
It's native 4K, and I have hundreds and hundreds of pictures of it. And so we've joked about this. So Dan saw my new PC, and I've shown you as well, Enrique. I've got the ultra wide, and it's a powerful PC. and I'm a Red Dead 2 diehard, and so far I've held off from buying it again because I know if I do, I'm never going to play anything else. But I really want to see it on a high-end PC and ultra wide.
Yeah, is it on Game Pass right now on PC or no?
Yes, on Game Pass on Xbox. I don't know if it's actually on PC Game Pass. I don't think so.
Look. I'll have to look.
Yeah,
because
I'll take a look while you're talking.
You might want to download it.
Oh man, yeah. Now you got me curious.
You can't pass up free, man, on Game Pass, especially if it's Red Dead Redemption 2. And I'll tell you what, Ace, it looks beautiful on PC, man. It really does. Like they put a lot of work into that game on PC, and that's one of the few, I think, third-party games that really I think from taking advantage of the Xbox One X, they really took advantage and really optimized that game well for that console. Because I don't think we typically see that level of optimization from third party for the One X. And not that the One X doesn't run games better per se than like a Pro, but this one, it was really like you could tell.
Oh, it was noticeable. Yeah. I mean, well, they showed the test, right? The pixels on screen are like almost double. It was really kind of a big thing. So no, it's not in Game Pass PC. It's only for Xbox consoles. So I just took a look, but it'd be interesting. Persian Knight said Microsoft sent ATG crew to Rockstar to help for that development, which I guess paid off in the end, right?
Yeah, no, it did. It absolutely did. I mean, that's where I played it first, and what's going to be interesting is what day one sales of the new GTA Grand Theft Auto 6 are going to look like, because that game is just printing money for Rockstar. I don't even think for a while it was like charting NPD top 10 still for like 2 years in a row. Is it still?
Oh, it still is. Yeah. It was number 7 last month. Yeah, still is,
man.
7 years later.
Yeah, but I wonder and who knows? I mean, this is because they did have one of the brothers left Rockstar.
The Hauser brothers left.
Hauser, yeah. So I wonder if that's going to have any impact in the game. I don't think it will, but who knows?
Yeah, it's a concern because they wrote Red Dead, they wrote GTA, they wrote all the GTA games since 3.
Yep.
Yeah, it is a concern, and it's not just him that left. One of the other VPs left as well. Wow. So there definitely seemed to be some kind of high level disagreement with what they were doing there. But we'll see. So I know, Dan, you played Red Dead even more than me. Are you feel the same way about GTA? I don't know if we've talked about GTA. Is that one of the things that you really get into in the same way?
Not the multiplayer side as much. It's mostly I enjoy playing the single player part, the campaign, and then that's usually it for me.
Okay.
And that's how I played with Red Dead when the first one came out. I played quite a bit of multiplayer with my friends. It was just that co-op, those little missions and stuff.
Yeah.
And then with this one, me and you got into it a little bit, and I really actually enjoyed myself quite a bit. But there were so many issues at the time we were playing that it was just getting frustrating.
You talking about Red Dead or GTA?
Red Dead 2.
Oh, yeah.
With the animals and all that.
Yeah. Is that still happening?
I don't know. I haven't jumped back on.
I haven't checked on it in a while either.
Yeah, there's other stuff. So, and I'm not a big multiplayer guy anyway. So
yeah. Well, that was kind of the nice thing about Red Dead Online, not GTA Online. Red Dead Online is you can kind of play it like an RPG single player almost. Yeah. It was like just playing through the same world, but with different stuff. Yeah.
Right.
So shout out to Steve, man. What's up, Steve? In chat, one of our new SG contributors has a great article up, which I'm going to touch on shortly, about Destiny 2. So, and I completely forgot. Elu pointed out that we're going to see this week too, guys. Baldur's Gate 3 is being teased for a June 6th preview. One of definitely right up there again with one of my more anticipated titles. I mean, you combine the Baldur's Gate IP with Larian Studios, and you've got the makings of a brilliant Western RPG.
So. That's a PC only game.
Yeah, I'm aware. Calm it down.
Stadia too.
Calm it down. We're talking about gaming platforms, Dan. Jesus.
Yeah,
where are you?
My bad.
Yeah, that is bizarre though, right? You're talking about one of the biggest kind of RPG releases this year, and it's PC and Stadia. Like,
I love it though, because they are targeting that higher end, spec.
That's true.
So they're designing this for higher end hardware. I love that. Like, I love that they're doing that.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, that'll be kind of cool, right? Because if they do that, and then next year it can just release on PS5 and Series X and be, kind of good to go. I would assume with most of those games, it takes a little longer for consoles because they have to redo the UI, right? They don't build it for controller right out of the gate. But, the funny thing, and I don't want to get us too off topic because we've been talking for a while, but a big debate in my head right now, which you'll like, Enrique, is got this new PC, got the ultra wide. My most anticipated game outside of maybe Halo is Cyberpunk. And Cyberpunk comes out 2 months before the Series X and PS5. I'm really debating playing Cyberpunk on PC, which would be like a big change for me. And then starting over on the Series X when that releases. So we'll see.
Hey, I'm playing it on PC, man.
Well, I know that. You didn't even have to tell me. I know.
Yeah. I mean, and I may, if I have the time to do it, I may double dip.
Yeah. I'm definitely.
We'll see.
Yeah, I'm definitely. Anyway, one more thing just to touch on real quick. I don't really have any comment other than it doesn't really matter to me, but I know it matters to a lot of people. NFL and Electronic Arts have renewed their partnership. So for anyone hoping for a competitor like 2K Games to come in and start making NFL 2K again, or any other company to make an NFL game to compete with Madden, it's not happening anytime soon. They renewed this through 2025 with an option on revenue to add another year through 2026. So if you think about where we are, right, that's basically the entire next generation already is locked down for Madden to be the only simulation NFL game.
Garbage.
Yeah, it's trash. I mean, 2K5. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. NFL 2K5, the GOAT. GOAT. Yep. Yeah, it's a shame. I know you play Madden every year, don't you, Dan?
Yeah, I play it every year. And the problem is, even if they were to go over there, it'd be just as much of a mess at 2K with the microtransactions as it would be on the EA does. It'd be the same thing. But that game was perfect. It was the perfect video game.
Which one are you talking about? NFL 2K5?
Yeah,
2K5.
Oh, it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
You know what's funny, Dan? You mentioned the microtransactions or VC with 2K. You probably have to buy your own equipment.
Yep.
Right?
New start off with the leather helmets.
Yeah. You don't even get shoulder pads. You just have to run out there and get injured if you don't buy the shoulder pads.
Reserve after the first 2 games.
Then you get a helmet. Your first helmet is the one with like the single bar, like the kickers used to wear.
A punter helmet. You get a punter helmet for your linemen.
Exactly. And then you get like leather track shoes, and then you upgrade to like regular Nikes or whatever they used. Yeah, it's interesting. Like 2K's come out with the golf game, and I was joking around with the guys on the Brad
so
channel.
Dan and I are pumped about it, man. I love golf games.
Oh, I can't wait. But I was like, are they going to make us buy our clubs? Like,
no kidding, man. No kidding. Yeah, well, no, we said the same thing. Is like, I hope at the bare minimum, right, give us the full career mode multiplayer and courses with no microtransactions. If you want us to buy cosmetics and whatever, but that's fine, whatever. But at least don't hold back, to your point, clubs. Don't have paid advantages for people who want to spend real money, because that'll just drive me nuts.
Yeah, and button press swinging.
Yeah. What's your opinion on that, Enrique? Dan and I are very big on the 3-touch swing, the meter. Like the old PGA Tour games and whatnot. Yeah. Or are you a thumbstick guy?
I like the button. I don't like the thumbsticks.
Okay.
I like
You've had all the right answers today so far, so you're doing good.
Yeah. No, it's just a little more. It's easier, I guess. I mean, look. I don't know. If I pick up a golf game, I just want to be able to pick it up and play, and have fun.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to practice like Tiger Woods to master the game. You know what I mean? I just don't want to do that. I want to pick it up, have fun, and that's it. Pick up and play.
Yeah.
Because that's how the old PGA games were.
Oh man, they were blast. The Genesis PGA games, some of the best.
I think Lynx was like that too. If you guys played Lynx on the on the original Xbox.
Oh yes, real good game. Actually, good call out. That was the old X. What was it? X. Because Xbox had their own sports games. If you remember.
Yeah, Xbox Sports Network. Remember that?
I think you're right. Yeah, because they had NFL Fever.
Oh, they did have Fever. Yeah.
Yeah. Good games. Yeah. Anyway, so let's talk about some of the things we're currently playing. I know we've been going for a while now. Let's, what are you guys into, Enrique? What are you currently, jumping around in?
Oh man, lots of Call of Duty Warzone, man. Believe it or not.
No, I believe it. I played a lot of it myself.
That game, I haven't played a Call of Duty multiplayer game in years. I've shunned the franchise. I'm like, I'm done. Right? They did the reboot of Modern Warfare. I picked it up. I got it free, by the way, because of when I got my PC. At the time.
Okay.
Like Nvidia had the deal, like if you bought a PC with an NVIDIA GPU or bought an NVIDIA GPU separately, you get Call of Duty for free.
Sure.
So I got it for free on my computer, and I loved the reboot, if you will, of Modern Warfare. I thought it was awesome. And then Warzone came along, and I was like, I've dabbled in battle royale, like with PUBG, and then like PUBG got old and it just didn't, and then it wasn't running well. The frames were terrible. It just never really seemed to improve much. So I didn't think I was going to go back into battle royales after. And then I dabbled in Apex Legends, but then I was like, you know what, I don't want to do this. And then I started playing with Mooch and Delirium Blades, and man, I am hooked. I mean, it's crazy. I am so hooked. I just found out that I have relatives, like my cousins, that play Warzone. I had no idea these guys were gamers.
Okay.
And I put something on Facebook, like, hey, what, is anyone gaming to kind of pass the time during quarantine or whatever? And like 3 of my cousins replied, like, yeah, we play Warzone. And I'm like, what? Like, I had no idea. And like one of my cousins, like, really good. Okay. I just no idea. So I've been playing a lot of Warzone, and then getting through Final Fantasy VII Remake, which I think is one of the best games I've played this year. Wow. What a tremendous job Square did with this remake. I mean, we talk about that, like, there's a lot of nostalgia for me with Final Fantasy VII, because that was one of the games we talked about. We talked about paradigm shifts in the industry. That JRPG was one of them.
It certainly was, especially being PlayStation 1 exclusive.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so, I call it the love letter to Final Fantasy VII. This remake is just awesome. And it's just the characters, which I, have an attachment to for just playing the original, the music, Air's theme song. I have it playing as a background music on my PlayStation 4 when I fire it up.
Nice.
But to hear that song in the game for the first time, man, I put the controller down, man. I got choked up, man. I'm not gonna lie.
hey, man, that's what games all about.
Man. The feels, man. So that's what I've been playing, and I have been playing a little bit of. Also, I'm sorry, I'm playing a little bit of Ori 2, which is one of the. By the way,
fantastic.
One of the best platformers this generation.
No doubt.
It really is,
without a doubt.
I mean, I would put it up above, the last Mario game on the Switch. I think it might be better than that.
Wow. Okay, that's up there. Yeah. I don't completely disagree. It's an incredible game. Incredible.
Yeah, it really is. I don't think a lot of people have played it, which is a shame, because tremendous production values, the music, the art. I mean, the gameplay mechanic. It's just a solid game.
Yeah.
It really is. It's just. If you haven't played it, please play it. It really is a great game. It's a little challenging, but that's okay. But it's one of the best platforming games this generation, bar none.
Yep, agree completely. So Stubbs, what's up, man? Good to see you. Matt over here talking about how Persian Knight brought up Dead or Alive volleyball. You remember when they came out with that, and that was like the big thing on the original Xbox?
And that actually, all joking aside, was actually from a gameplay standpoint, was actually a good volleyball game, believe it or not.
Elu said I played it for the articles.
I mean, it was actually a good volleyball game. Like, all joking aside, like,
that's the funny thing about it, right? It was a fundamentally good video game.
It really was.
It just happened to have a lot of boobs and ass, Dan, did you? I can't remember. Did you beat Final Fantasy VII Remake?
Yeah, I finished it.
Because I know you really loved it too, right?
Yeah, really good game. It's been so long, I don't remember anything. Really, I remember bits and pieces, and it just it was like a new game. I mean, if you didn't, like I said, if you didn't know what Final Fantasy was, I mean, and they just gave it to you, you wouldn't have no idea that this was remade from something else.
Yeah,
and it's really good, really good.
I think one of these days I got to try it, because I've said way too many times I just wasn't a fan of Final Fantasy VII. I'm one of those weirdos from that generation where that game just didn't do it for me. It kind of killed my love of the series, because I loved Final Fantasy, 5 and 6 or 2 and 3 on the US Super Nintendo so much. But I've heard such great things about it and the remake that I may need to just play it at some point. So
it's not a Final Fantasy game really to me. It's more of like a Devil May Cry-ish kind of thing with some mechanics that are in
due
there.
to the way they changed the combat and stuff.
Right, yeah, the combat's so much different. And
very fluid.
Yeah, very, very fluid. And even though you have to go into menus and change some stuff up, and it just flows so well that you really don't even notice it, and it's really very intuitive. So it's really easy to play. So
cool. What are you up to right now?
I played some dungeons. We kind of talked about that in the podcast.
Yeah, you weren't as impressed as I was about it.
I'm not. No,
you're talking about Minecraft Dungeons?
Yeah, Minecraft Dungeons. It is what it is.
Is that like what are your thoughts? So I'm thinking about picking it up.
It's on Game Pass.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about downloading it because my kids are big Minecraft fans. I mean, is this a game that they can pick up?
Oh, it's fun, man. I'm enjoying. So I might as well talk about it because it's the only really new thing I've been playing this week. But I've been playing it with a couple buddies. Elu actually in chat. We're playing it with a couple other buddies, and I can tell you, I mean, I know where Dan's going is if you're like a big Diablo fan or Path of Exile or those major ARPGs, it's not very deep, right? I mean, it's not like you're building complex systems or skill trees or anything else. It's kind of like my first ARPG, but it's just pure fun. It's just, kind of big levels, bunch of enemies. It's got a good kind of sense of humor to it. And you just kind of run around and, just fight through hordes of enemies. And it's just really fun and it plays really well. So we've played 4-player co-op with like hundreds of things on screen. It never hiccups even once, no slowdown. It just plays really smoothly. So it's cool. I think your kids would definitely, would definitely.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check it out. I mean, I'm glad you prefaced it with if you're looking for like a Diablo type experience, this isn't it, because I think that was probably some of the disappointment from what I was reading from people that it lacked content depth.
Yeah, definitely nowhere near the depth of a major ARPG like that. But okay. I mean, it has more depth than you would expect from when looking at it. You know what I mean? Sure. If you look at it, you'll be like, oh, this is going to be like just a little action game. No, there's actually loot. There's armor. You can do custom builds. You can mix and match artifacts and your weapons and stuff and do combos. So, I mean, it's got some stuff to it, but nowhere near Diablo or Path of Exile.
Yeah, it's less grindy, for sure. Yeah. But, and if you're looking for something, like my kids played it and finished it the second day it came out. And they had a good time, but now they're kind of like, and I hit that point like 3 hours in. I was just like, all right.
I know you were texting me like, I think I'm kind of done with this.
Yeah.
You see what Elu said, Dan? He said you got to put it above difficulty 1.
Right. You see, that's the thing. I had it all the way up as high as I could get it, and I couldn't. I'm just like, this is, I think my expectations were a little bit too high for it.
Okay.
To be fair, I was really hoping for maybe something more like Diablo with the Minecraft universe.
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing though. I think just the setting, and just the IP of Minecraft, I've never been like really into it. I understand why people do like it for sure. And I understand why people like this game. I think it's, for what it is, it does a okay job, and, that's fine. I mean, plus I didn't have to pay for it. Right. So,
yeah,
and that's even better. Yeah.
Carl said #difficulty Dan.
Damn right. Everything I play. I have no interest in making myself mad while playing video games. I said it 100 times. I can't even. I mean, it's so much. I get too frustrated too easily. So I usually play it either on normal or on an easier setting. If I go back and play, like I've been playing also Arkham Knight and BioShock. So BioShock released their 4K stuff yesterday.
Yeah, out of nowhere.
Yeah, no idea. And now it looks great. I mean, it looks great. I think it looked great before that. Now, it holds up. I would say there aren't a whole lot of games that are better or that have held up this long and this well, than like a BioShock and BioShock Infinite too.
Hashtag bias Dan.
Yes, I love them both. I mean, that's just for the story, but they really, really look good.
No,
I'll tell you what. Games. Yeah, and then you look at, say, Mafia 2. Trash. Total trash.
Wow.
Both done by 2K. And it was like, I mean, I don't understand why. I finished that today or this week too. I mean, if you're going to come out and do a remaster, you have to remaster everything. You have to remaster not only the graphics, but you also have to remember that these controls were so dated that you maybe have to touch them up a little bit, not just throw a fresh coat of paint on it and say, okay, here you go. And like we said last week, Saints Row 3 comes out to rave reviews of like, this is how you do a remaster. And 2K's just like, here, pay me $30 for this garbage, and I did because I'm an idiot. And now I've got Mafia 2 and I finished it in like 3 or 4 days. It's not even a good game. Like, not even a good story.
Is it like tank controls? I mean, is that how bad it is?
No, it's just super jumpy. It's just the aiming is crap. Wow. But I was playing Mafia 3 too before.
Just not polished, is what you're saying.
No, it's not polished at all. No, you can't. Yeah, if you paint, your shed that's sitting outside that's about ready to fall down, and throw a fresh coat of paint on it, it's still a piece of shit shed. So I mean, that's what I'm trying to say here. It's like painting a turd gold and you don't do nothing. Come on now. Do something, man.
Real quick before I forget, Persian Knight, he asked if Psychonauts 2 was cross-platform. Yes, it is. So even after Microsoft bought Double Fine or Xbox, what have you, they, Psychonauts 2, if you remember, was actually funded on Fig and coming to all platforms. So it's still coming to PC, PS4, Xbox One. I don't remember if it's Switch. We do have a preview of it and some video from the E3 demo last year on the site. So you can find that if you search on the site.
Big fan of Psychonauts.
Oh, me too. Huge. We actually, last year at E3, Bert and I got the closed door demo with the producer and whatnot at E3. And
nice.
We're actually in their video. If you go to Double Fine's channel and watch the video from E3 last year, you can see Bert and I sitting there in the crowd.
Nice. So, I'll have to check it out.
Pretty cool. Yeah, it looks fantastic. I love what I saw. And we actually I think we have a video on our channel of us talking about our impressions of it. So good stuff. Can't wait for that. But anyway, guys, anything else of interest that you've been playing this week?
No.
Nope.
All right. Yeah, I touched on Minecraft Dungeons. That's really, I keep saying this every week because, I'm just I'm sitting here waiting for Last of Us 2, but just playing a lot of World of Tanks again and Smite, just really into Smite. Elu's joined us on Smite now, and him and I and another buddy just been playing that like crazy. So pretty cool. I saw Cthulhu is coming to Smite this week, actually, which is their new big god release. So if you're interested in that at all, should be cool. But all right, man. Well, I think I didn't even realize we've gone nearly 2 hours, man. We've been talking for a while. So it's been real fun having you on, Enrique. A good conversation. It will not be the last time. I keep telling people now that Dan and I have the live show kind of going and in a good cadence with every Saturday and a set time, going to be having more and more guests on. So we'll have to have you on again. And go ahead and shout out anything you want to shout out, man.
Yeah, just again, Ains, man, thank you. And Dan, thank you guys for having me on. It's been a blast. I love coming on podcasts and, just talking video games. Had a great time, and I would love to come back on. And we got to get both Ains and Dan, we got to get you on BRAP too.
Anytime, man.
Yeah, got to make that happen sooner than later. So, and big shout out to everyone in the live chat, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. And if you haven't checked out Basement Radio Arcade Podcast, you can find us on YouTube at the Basement Radio Arcade Podcast, and check us out. We go live every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to give me a follow on the Twitters, you can follow me at BRAP_podcast on Twitter. So thank you again, gentlemen. Had a blast, and again, got to get you guys back on. We got to get you guys on BRAP.
Yeah, man. Anytime, just hit us up.
Yep, so, absolutely.
Good time. Yeah, thanks everyone in chat, man. It's been a great conversation today. A couple things I want to shout out real quick. So on the site, like I said, new sites live. Couple new articles out that came this week. So Elu in the chat, Patrick wrote an article on the importance of music in video games. Excellent article. Definitely suggest you check it out. And then Steve, who is also in chat, wrote an article this week specifically on Destiny 2 and kind of the environment that Bungie has created and some of the challenges they face. So those articles are live. You can find them on the site. The new Meet the Crew page is also live on the site, which basically takes some kind of like 5 or 6 kind of core questions about our history in gaming, some of the things we love, our favorite console, etc. For all the people currently producing content for Season Gaming. So check that out, get to know us a little better. And we've got a review coming from Ryan, likely either today or tomorrow, for Those Who Remain, a new indie game that just launched this week as well. So keep an eye out for that. But it's been a blast. Dan, anything to shout out?
I'm good, man. Good.
All right, guys. So been a lot of fun. Thanks again, Enrique. Thanks again, chat, and we'll see you next week.